What is up, guys? Thank you for joining me today. We're in for another Drafters Best Ball Champion contest. It's their $20 million to 300K to first. It's also my birthday, so I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. I just wanted to start the day with a fun stab at the 300K. We'll see what we can do. I'm going to hop into a screen share here. The draft is about to start in a minute or so. We drew the 10th spot, so I'm cool with that. This is my 20th entry into this contest. And hey, if anyone's watching out there with us and you're drafting in this contest, let me know in the comments. I'd love to know if anyone's in there drafting with us today. And then I do want to say, if you guys are new to drafters.com, you guys can use my promo code, TheFellowKGB. There's a link in the description of this video. Sign up for Drafters. You're going to get a free $20 cash bonus. And then I'm going to shout out Beamer and Bud used my code in June, and so did Colton Slavey. So congrats to you guys for getting your $20. And yeah, we're going to have fun with this one. And this is a fun contest. I do want to get more entries into this one. It looks like it's starting at about 30 seconds or so. And again, we are drafting from the 10 spot. We'll see what we can do. I think throughout the draft, I'm going to continue to pull up my rankings and my projections. If you're new to the fellowship, definitely subscribe to the channel, like the video, all that good stuff. All my stuff is free. On the fantasyfellowship.com, just go to the 2023 playbook. All my rankings, projections, cheat sheets, everything is for free here for you guys. And I got these nice team projection tabs. I have advanced projections. I have articles. Everything on here that I do is free for you guys to use. And yeah, let's have fun. Looks like the draft is underway here. We have Justin Jefferson, Ja'Marr Chase, of course, the top two players, I think, in most drafts. You do get lucky sometimes, and you get Ja'Marr Chase to fall to 3. That's not happening in this one. I did see Justin Jefferson fall to number 3 in a draft I think I did on Monday or Tuesday, so that was pretty wild. And then there's CMC at 4. DraftKings is running, or Drafters is running a little promo right now. It's I'm gonna pull it up actually. It's a little streak promo. Let me just sign in real quick. They're doing a streak challenge where if you draft 5 consecutive days, you're going to get a $10 pick'em ticket. If you draft 10 consecutive days, you get a free entry into the $20 million. So I might try and stretch it out to 10. Not sure if I'm going to get up to the 20, but I'm going to try and get the 10-day streak. And then, yeah, if anyone's drafting with us, please let me know in the comments. Looks like Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce here at the 10 spot. I'm not really sure what I need. I can pull up my exposures throughout the draft here and show you guys what we're looking at. They did put a new picture of Bijan Robinson here. I wouldn't mind grabbing him at 10. I need to get my shares of Bijan up. Otherwise, I mean, obviously I would take Eckler if he falls here. I think that's a great value. His ADP is 7.3. Of course, he goes at number 9. I'm looking at A.J. Brown or CeeDee Lamb. Let me just check my projections real quick. I have CeeDee Lamb, my eighth ranked player, A.J. Brown, my 11th ranked player in full PPR. So it's telling me to go with CeeDee Lamb at 10. Passing on A.J. Brown, I don't know if I love it. I'll tell you what, we're gonna go with CeeDee Lamb. I'm gonna stick to my projections. I do like A.J. Brown here, but sometimes you just got to stick with what your projections say. And I don't have them projected too differently here. It looks like A.J. Brown at 11. I have CeeDee Lamb here at number 8. In terms of their production, I have CeeDee Lamb going for 292 PPR points and A.J. Brown going for 281. I think it's pretty clear. Lamb's probably going to catch more passes than A.J. Brown. Brown maybe catches more touchdowns. So it's a small difference. We'll go with CeeDee Lamb here, see if we can line up something with Dak Prescott and the Cowboys at some point. I do want to note, too, on Drafters, because it is a season-long thing, it's weeks 1 through 17. There is no playoffs. I did notice that I looked at the teams that won last year, the top 2 teams. They did not stack. They did not have a ton of super stacks on their team here. So that's interesting. We'll get into that in a second. I'm up to pick right now. Garrett Wilson, Saquon Barkley, Nick Chubb, Jonathan Taylor, the top few picks available here. I do have Saquon Barkley ranked as my highest player here, and I've been wanting to get more shares of him. I do have JT and Garrett Wilson at 15 and 16. So I guess we will start with a well-balanced running back, wide receiver start. I'll get Saquon Barkley. I like Saquon Barkley. I think he pops in a lot of my metrics. Again, it's my RB5 in this category here. I'm excited about the Giants offense. I think everyone should expect them to take a step forward in year 2. Brian Daboll's system. Daniel Jones finally has some receivers and Darren Waller to throw the ball to. We could maybe line up some. Now we have 2 outs. We have Dak Prescott and the Cowboys. We have Darren Waller, Daniel Jones. for some Giants builds. But I did want to talk about the teams that won this contest last year. They simply hit their picks. They didn't really build like a strategy of stacking players and teams. They pretty much they grabbed Justin Jefferson. Both teams had JJ in round 2. I think they both had. I want to say, was it Tyreek Hill maybe fell to round 2? They both had Josh Jacobs. They had Miles Sanders. One of them had Hawkinson. One of them had George Kittle. So some interesting things. You can look at that back on the history tab if you played in that contest last year. I don't have the official teams with me here, but it was interesting to see what they did. And one of the teams had like a really weak jet stack. They had Zach Wilson, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, and Corey Davis, stuff like that. That was really the only stack that stuck out on the winning team. So I don't know if stacking is as important on drafters. Obviously, I still want to practice doing that. And when I can get, CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott, I'm going to try and do that. And for this build here, especially CeeDee Lamb and Saquon Barkley, both the quarterbacks, Jones and Prescott, I have a good chance at getting at least one of them at 106. So maybe I wait on QB in this build and see what happens. But anyways, after I took Saquon Barkley at 15, we see Jonathan Taylor, Garrett Wilson, Nick Chubb, Chris Olave, Tony Pollard, Patrick Mahomes, the lone QB in round 2. There's Derrick Henry, T. Higgins, and Devonta Smith finish round number 2. Looks like the Jamar Chase, T. Higgins stack is alive here. Interesting. The guy that had Kelsey passed on Mahomes. And interesting. I don't like this idea, guys. Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen, in the comments, let me know what you guys think. I think this is kind of crazy to take 2 QBs this early. Essentially, yeah, you're locking in maybe 25 points at the QB spot every week, but man, you're burning a pick so early. And this guy, one of those guys is going to start for you each week. You can't have 2. So I don't like taking 2 QBs that early. I can make an argument for like a second QB by like round 6 maybe, but I think that's too early. But round 3, you got Jalen Hurts stacked with Devonta Smith, very nice, and Justin Jefferson. I like that team right there. Ramondre, Jacobs, there's the Josh Allen, Mahomes, CMC stack. Mark Andrews, Pollard, Tyreek Hill, that's nice and balanced. There's Travis Etienne at 30, interesting. I've seen Travis Etienne fall to the back end of the 4th round a lot. I think that's too early for me. I don't know what you guys think. If you're watching this in the comments, there's that. To me, that seems a little early for Etienne, when you can kind of consistently get him in the back of this. But we're up to pick right now. Etienne, Metcalf, Lamar, Keenan Allen. I have some doubts about Breece Hall. I'm nervous about the ramp-up period for his ACL return. And then there's also a lot of hot rumors right now about Dalvin Cook going to the Jets. So I'm kind of cooling my Jets on Breece Hall. I like Calvin Ridley, but I'm not super stoked about it. I like Christian Kirk a little bit later. I'm going to go with Deebo Samuel, I think, here. Let me grab another good receiver. I think everyone was kind of disappointed in Deebo last year. I expect him to bounce back. In terms of my rankings on him, I have him as my 30th best flex player available. I do have Jahmyr Gibbs, Amari Cooper ranked ahead of him. So if we can get one of those guys to fall, I think that would be pretty sweet. But there we go. CeeDee Lamb, Saquon Barkley, Deebo Samuel. This also gives us an out for Brock Purdy at some point. I don't get why Brock Purdy's going so late in the draft, but I'm super open to it. I probably should have taken Jahmyr Gibbs with that pick to get another running back here, because I'm not going to like the running backs when it comes back to me. So I maybe regret not taking Jahmyr Gibbs. I like Amari Cooper as well. I want to be in on the Browns offense this season. But you see Breece Hall, Gibbs, Cooper all fall there at the 3-4 turn. We're on deck right now. Calvin Ridley, Jerry Jeudy, the top players available. There goes Ridley. It says Najee Harris is the best running back available. DeAndre Hopkins is going to sign somewhere, and we'll probably react to his ADP at a later point. Christian Kirk here at 41 makes sense. Christian Watson, Drake London. So it's basically telling me to take receiver here. I'm just going to collect the top one. I'm in on Jerry Jeudy this year. I think he played pretty well down the stretch in 2022. You look at his numbers here. Let me kind of just zoom in. Week 18, I know it didn't count for fantasy, but 24.3 points. He blew up for 5 catches, 154 yards. They also ran with him. He had 3 for 39 on the ground, which maybe we see a little bit more of that from Jeudy this year. Week 17 against Kansas City, 10.8 points, 7 for 38. He blew up against the Rams, 6 for 117 yards, 7 for 76 against the Cardinals. And then, of course, the big game, Week 14 against Kansas City, 8 for 73 and 3 touchdowns. So the Broncos offense kind of ended on a strong note to end the year. I think getting Judy as my wide receiver 3 looks pretty good. I think a lot of people are going to rank him as a wide receiver 2. So I'm personally in on Jerry Judy. I want to see where I have him ranking. I have him right at where I took him, right at about 42. So I'm super interested in this Broncos offense. And now we have 3, value QBs we can maybe look at stacking with our receivers. Dak, um, Daniel Jones, even Brock Purdy, and Russell Wilson. So we got 4 value QBs we could potentially stack. But after I take Jerry Judy, you see DeAndre Hopkins go there at 40, Christian Watson 41, Najee Harris and Joe Mixon 42, 43, Terry McLaurin, Christian Kirk, Joe Burrow. Oh, okay. So Taco Guy Dave says no team with Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. You cannot have Joe Burrow. So that's kind of rude. And I don't know if it's just me, guys, or if you guys agree with this too, but like if I'm Taco Guy Dave, I'm not taking Joe Burrow here. I don't have Chase. I don't have Higgins. I have no business taking Joe Burrow here. I'd rather continue to build my team with like Drake London probably would have been my pick here. I think this is poor taste to snipe somebody on the QB. That kind of, it upsets me. I don't really like it. I don't get it. I don't think this helps Taco Guy Dave. Sure, he's got a good QB, but yeah, he probably could have built out his receivers a little bit, and then he could have got Matt Stafford later. He could have, got some other QBs at some point here. So I don't like this. I don't like seeing this in the draft lobby. But anyways, we're into the 5th round here. TJ Hawkinson begins at 49, followed by Justin Fields, Deontay Johnson, Brandon Ayuk, Aaron Jones. I'm not sure what I want to do with my pick coming up. I really like Mike Williams. If we can somehow get Mike Williams to keep falling, I think that would be a hell of a pick. I don't expect it to happen. I probably need to take more Chris Godwin. I love Justin Herbert, but again, we don't have Keenan Allen. We don't have Mike Williams yet. And the potential to maybe get Quentin Johnston maybe makes sense. I would imagine right here, topsy-turvy, he's probably taking Herbert with Keenan Allen and Eckler. I think that's probably what he's setting up here. Nice little Chargers build. And there goes Mike Williams. So I would expect topsy-turvy to take Herbert. That's going to leave us with, Godwin, Walker, Marquise, Lockett, Dobbins. One of these running backs probably is the move in the 5th round here. I mean, the receivers, Godwin, Marquise, Lockett, I'm not super in love with these picks here. And he takes Marquise Brown. Interesting. So I do have the ability to take Justin Herbert here. And like I mentioned, stacking, I don't know if I need to do it. Interesting. Do I take Chris Godwin here? I do need more Chris Godwin shares. He's a little bit behind ADP, so I'm going to take him. We'll see if Herbert slides through, but I am pretty low on Chris Godwin. Let me look at my shares. I'm only 4% Godwin, so I do need more. Dude had a really good season last year, and I get it. It's Baker Mayfield and potentially Kyle Trask, but for me, when I think about what Baker Mayfield did well when he was starting in Cleveland, is he targeted Jarvis Landry a lot. So I think that quick throw to the slot area of the field, it might be fruitful in Tampa Bay. And we don't expect them to win a lot of games. We expect them to be losing. We expect them to be trailing and maybe have to throw. I don't hate Chris Godwin as my number 4 receiver on my team here. And again, we get him a few picks after ADP. So I think to me it makes sense. But after I take Godwin, you see Dobbins, Kyle Pitts. And right now we're just kind of doing the dance here to see what we can get. Herbert is a steal if he comes to us. Lockett, Burks, Kittle. I think these are all interesting picks here. And it looks like Mike Evans was the pick here at the turn. We're on deck. We're getting a good pick to fall to us here at 63. And he does go Treylon Burks. Oh, man. So I'm about to do what I just said I shouldn't do. This guy's got Eckler and Keenan Allen. I should probably let him have Herbert, but Herbert shouldn't be here right now. I'm going to take Justin Herbert, and we'll try and lock up Quentin Johnston at some point here. We also have an out with Gerald Everett. And then what's nice here too is I have a bunch of outs with my QB too. We can get Saquon Barkley's QB, Daniel Jones. We can get Dak Prescott. We can get Brock Purdy. We can get Russell Wilson. I think we have nice potential here to just do a 2 QB build in this. I would imagine Herbert in a 17-game week season. I would hope Herbert starts, 13, 14 games for us and he has a top 5 season. But that's awesome to get Herbert here at 63. I do have a lot of Justin Herbert shares this year, so I'm quite surprised he fell. And yeah, my ADP is 57.9 on him. We got him at pick 63, and I'm up to 16% Herbert. So I like that pick there. And yeah, so far so good. 4 receivers: Saquon Barkley and Justin Herbert. We'll look for maybe another receiver here in the 8th before the, in the top 8 rounds. I want at least 5 pass catchers. So I think for sure one more receiver, and then we're probably looking at running back on this this 7th, 8th round turn. After I take Herbert, you see George Kittle, JSN, Trevor Lawrence, Kadarius Toney, Tyler Lockett, and Gabe Davis. I really like the 7th round range. I think there's some really good running backs available here, whether it's Cam Akers, Miles Sanders. I'm kind of iffy on DeAndre Swift. I'm not a huge DeAndre Swift guy. I'm nervous about there's not a lot of passing volume to the running backs in that offense. So I'm kind of thinking Swift is about half as valuable as he was with Detroit, because Detroit threw it almost to the running back at a double rate. So I'm kind of nervous about Swift. His best value would be as a rusher if Rashad Penny goes down. So I get it. But I like Sanders a lot here, and Akers, Rachaad White, David Montgomery. Those are some of the running backs that I'm probably looking at. So we'll star these guys here. I do like James Cook a little bit later as well. Again, receivers, I mentioned Quentin Johnston. We'll see if he falls to us. I do like Dallas Goedert a lot when he falls. I also like Darren Waller when he falls. So we'll see what we got here. I do like this round. You see Akers at the end of round 6, followed by Jahan Dotson to start the 7th, Sanders, Rachaad White, Cortland Sutton here. And we'll see what we can do. I got a lot of guys that I like on my queue right now. I think we're going to have a good 7th, 8th round turn. And hey, if you guys are new to the Fantasy Fellowship, don't forget to like the video. It helps people know that this is a quality one that they should watch. And subscribe if you're new, man. I'm trying to reach that 1,000 subscriber mark by the start of the football season. When it gets to the football season, I'm going to be doing, all your weekly waiver wire shows. I usually do live streams where you guys can come in and ask start-sit questions. I think I do that on usually Wednesday nights and Thursday nights. I do that. But yeah, we'll be pumping out tons of best ball and mock draft content throughout the rest of the summer here, and then that will bleed right into the regular season. So you see James Conner, Michael Thomas, and David Montgomery go at 79. It looks like some of the guys are falling here that we want. George Pickens falling is interesting. I don't know if I'm in on Jordan Addison. I think he's an exciting rookie in a good landing spot and a good offense, but I think at this point we have to take our guy here with the stack for Justin Herbert if he allows it. And he goes Brandon Cooks. Okay, but Dallas Goedert is tumbling. I'm going to grab Quentin Johnston, and we'll see if Goddard or Darren Waller fall to us on the turn. Either way, man, I would feel really good. With Waller, we get another piece of the Giants offense, which I like. We've officially stacked Herbert with Quentin Johnston, so good for us. We get him as our wide receiver 5, which I think is nice because we don't need him to start for us. Maybe he starts off slow. If anything happens to Keenan Allen or Mike Williams, we have QJ in our back pocket. I'm kind of excited for him there. And hey, man, if we can get this tight end to fall to us, whether it's Goddard or Waller, and this is something I've been noticing too. Like Goddard's ADP is 76, so he should have went here where Sutton went. He's been falling into the beginning of the 8th round, which doesn't make sense. So great snag here for this team. And then look at this. We get Waller, the top ADP player in the queue, ADP of 82, and we get him at 87. And it's a nice little mini correlation here with Saquon Barkley. I love it. It's a pretty good pick. We still have a bunch of outs at tight end too. We can get, with the Cowboys, we have a lot of outs at QB and tight end yet. So we're going to get a decent QB 2, a decent tight end 2 or 3. Jake Ferguson's the tight end in Dallas. I think Dulcich for the Broncos is interesting. Cade Otton for the Buccaneers, and then Gerald Everett. There's a lot of this is a fun team that we've got brewing here. Dak Prescott goes at 88, so we'll cross that off the list. He reached pretty massively on that. I think. Let me see what Prescott's ADP really is. I think that was a bad pick. Now, Prescott goes at 100, so he reached a full 12 picks ahead. So Prescott should have went here. I do see Dak fall a lot of times to the back end of the 9th round. So again, that's why I took Herbert, because I didn't want to get sniped on some of these QBs. So I like kind of being ahead on that build, and we'll see what happens. But after we take Waller, you see Dak Prescott. James Cook, who I like a lot as my RB3, Elijah Moore, Isaiah Pacheco, Zay Flowers, and Evan Ingram so far as we approach the end of the 8th round. Where do y'all think Dalvin Cook's going to play? I think there's 3 teams that all make sense, and they're all in the AFC East. You know, whether it's the Jets, the Dolphins, or the Patriots. I think the Patriots have emerged as a dark horse here. They've kind of wanted to find a complement to Ramondre Stevenson, and I think Cook fits that build pretty nicely. With the Jets, of course, the Jets are all in for 2023. So to me, the Jets are the most logical team that makes sense. I think they have enough cap space to do so as well. And you also have Breece Hall returning from an ACL injury. So I don't think they want to go out and give him 20 carries a game from the beginning of the season. So I'm thinking it's the Jets. I don't expect the Dolphins to sign him either. Like what? I know Cook wants to go to Miami. That's where he's from, but they didn't give him a really good offer. I'm feeling very strongly that Dalvin Cook's going to be a New York Jet or a New England Patriot. But let's see here. After Evan Ingram at 93, you see Anthony Richardson, Rashad Bateman, and Samaje Perine to finish the 8th round. There goes Dalvin Cook, Antonio Gibson, Javonte Williams, and then Jameson Williams. Excuse me. Wow, Geno Smith going at 101. So we're getting some QBs to fall here. There's Tua. We don't have any Dolphins builds, but I do like Tua. I think Tua is a really good player to grab as he falls here in the 9th round. There's Daniel Jones. We can play the Daniel Jones game. I do want to pay attention to my corner here. Lemmings here at 11. He does not have a QB yet. He also doesn't have any Giants players, which is helpful. This guy's got Deshaun Watson, so we can maybe gamble here for Daniel Jones on the turn. And again, if I don't get Daniel Jones, I'm not upset about it. I mean, I do have Barkley and Waller. I would appreciate the stack. But man, oh man, Zach Charbonnet here. That probably should be the pick. I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to grab the rookie running back out of Seattle here. I know he's our RB2, but at this point, we've built up a pretty good balanced team of wide receivers. We have our QB and our tight end. I think the move is to start compiling running backs here in the 11th and 12th round down in here. But yeah, if we can get Daniel Jones here, I'm all in on that. It fits our build really well. There goes Kirk Cousins. So I'm assuming this guy doesn't take a QB. He's already got Watson. So fingers crossed he takes Jared Goff. He should take David Njoku here to pair with his Watson. And I think he took Amari Cooper as well. So this pick's probably Njoku. I know he's already got Kyle Pitts, though. He takes Brian Robinson. That's a good pick here. We'll see what Lemmings does. Please give us our stack. 18 seconds here. If we don't get Daniel Jones, I mean, I don't know if we need a tight end. I do like Njoku and Pat Freiermuth a lot in this range, though. Those have been popular clicks for me. He takes Pat Freiermuth, so I like it. We got to do it, guys. We get Daniel Jones at 111. His ADP is 108.6, and he stacks. We got Herbert and Daniel Jones. I don't know if I need a third QB in this build. Maybe if Purdy is falling super late, we can maybe tack on Baker Mayfield for the Godwin stack here, but I don't know if I need to do that. So I'm feeling good about it. And now at this point, we just need running backs. So I'm going to go here, click through a bunch of running backs. Again, here's the thing, if this is my thinking, and I can change every draft, I can change my thinking here. But if I'm, saying this stuff about Dalvin Cook and I don't think he's going to be a Dolphin, I should be interested in Devon Achane. I should be interested in Raheem Mostert. I should be interested in Jeff Wilson, because if Dalvin Cook doesn't sign there, those dudes are going to have very useful weeks for best ball. So I think if I'm correct in that line of thinking, and who knows, the next draft I could just avoid the Dolphins running backs completely, and then that way I'm not hurt if Dalvin Cook signs there. But if I'm right on this and Dalvin Cook doesn't go to the Dolphins, all of a sudden those guys look pretty good late. But after I take Daniel Jones, you see Rashad Penny, you see Romeo Doubs, David Njoku, Nico Collins has been moving up the draft boards. I think his let me see Nico's ADP. I think it was like 130. Yeah, it's 130, or his ADP is 124 right now. He goes at 115. There were some positive camp reports about Nico Collins. I think they came out yesterday saying that like he is the clear favorite target for CJ Stroud. So I like Nico Collins. I've been drafting him a good amount. I have him at 11% here. And again, anything over 8%, that means you like the player. So I like Nico a lot here. There's Alvin Kamara, Sky Moore, Odell Beckham, Tyler Boyd, Jacoby Myers, and Juju. So there's a huge receiver run here at the turn. I don't hate the receivers in this range here too. I like Nico. I like Dobbs. I like Sky Moore. It's just the problem right now. All three of these guys, you could get them in the 11th, 12th round a couple weeks ago. So they are definitely moving up the boards. And I want to show you guys too. If you guys have not checked out the Fantasy Fellowship, I post the ADPs on here for drafters, DraftKings, and Underdog. And then I do have this nice tab right here that says ADP risers and fallers. I update this once a week. So we get the 1 week ADP change. And right now, I mean, Romeo Dobbs is one of the 6th highest risers. There's Brock Purdy, Van Jefferson, also another receiver moving up draft boards right now. Addison, Robert Woods. I don't see Sky Moore or Nico Collins. I think Nico Collins will probably be on this list next week, though. But anyways, after Juju, you see Darnell Mooney, Dalton Schultz, Elijah Mitchell, Khalil Herbert, Jerick McKinnon, Aaron Rodgers, Devon Achane. We're on deck right now. We're getting a good value here on a receiver. I like Jaylen Warren. This guy needs running backs. I should probably take Jaylen Warren here, but man, oh man, the value here on Sky Moore is pretty dang good. I like him a lot. I think he's one of my favorite picks this late here. I'm gonna reach a little bit on Jaylen Warren, a few picks ahead of ADP, but what the game log suggests here for Rondale is look at his numbers. Week 5, he had 13 fantasy points. Week 6, he had 10.9, 23.4, 14.9, 18.4. The dude was racking up a lot of volume. He had reception totals of 7, 6, 7, 8, and 9 in 5 of those games. DeAndre Hopkins isn't there. Marquise Brown, if he is a player that can be the number 1 target, but he's had a lot of soft tissue injuries in the past. There's a case for Rondale Moore. I mean, you have to think about it too. If Marquise Brown only plays like 10 games, there's a case that Rondale Moore could be the leading team receiver for the Cardinals. So I do like Rondale Moore in retrospect. I might have taken him here over Jaylen Warren, but the need at running back kind of, pushed us up the board there. Kendre Miller, at this point, I kind of want to wait on the running backs here. Chig Okonkwo is falling. We can get Russ and just call it a day at QB. We got Herbert, Daniel Jones, and Russ. I don't hate the idea of that. Gallup, Rashee Rice, Okonkwo. I think I'm just going to do it, guys. I'm just going to collect Russell Wilson. I know it's a 3rd QB. We're completely done at the position now, but I'm basically building in mini stacks here. We have Godwin unstacked right now, but we have Judy stacked with Wilson. We have Herbert stacked with QJ, and we have Daniel Jones stacked with Barkley and Darren Waller. So we'll see if we can, tack on some more Bronco players. And Chris, thank you, my man. I appreciate it. Hope you're doing well. Appreciate that a lot, my man. Thank you. And I think we're having a good draft so far. I don't like having 3 QBs this early, but they all correlate with our team pretty well. And I love the Broncos receivers late. I'm going to star Marvin Mims right now. I'm also going to go ahead and star Tim Patrick, who's the thumbnail for the video today. If I can tack on some more Broncos receivers, I feel really good about it. I don't think we're going to get Greg Dulcich to fall to us, but you never know. A lot of weird things happen in the draft. And at this point, tight ends that correlates. You have Dulcich, who just went. You have Gerald Everett, who I like a lot. So we still have an out there. And then, so the last stacking tight end is Gerald Everett. But again, we got Waller. I feel pretty good about that. We're going to need some running backs at some point, though. Kenneth Gainwell has been moving up boards. I want to look at his rise in ADP. He's the 11th highest riser last week. He moved up 3.6 spots. He's, squarely in the top 160 now of these things. So he's a guy that I think I have a decent amount of Kenneth Gainwell. Yep, I got about 12% Gainwell. Just my issue is I have him, my ADP is 171.2. He's moved up 15 spots from that. So I hate I hate it when I kind of ruin some of my ADPs on some of these guys, but at this point, I think it's pretty clear to me he's probably the best value in the Philadelphia backfield. He can be a 3-down back. We don't trust Rashad Penny to stay healthy. We also don't trust DeAndre Swift to stay healthy, right? Like he's never really been a perfect bill of health, and he is kind of profiled as a receiving back. So I don't know. I kind of like taking stabs here late on Gainwell. The other guy too. Don't sleep on Mr. Algier here. Even though they did draft Bijan Robinson, I think there's going to be. I think the Falcons are just going to run the ball down people's throat. It wouldn't surprise me if Bijan, gets his 20, 22 carries and Algier ends up getting, 10 carries a game. It wouldn't surprise me for him to be a useful bench tool at some point. And again, if anything happens to Bijan, you got a lottery ticket here with Mr. Algier. So let's see here. Top of the board, Dalton Kincaid, who's one of the biggest fallers right now. Let me look at this. If you scroll down here, you can see the biggest fallers. Kincaid, actually, he's not on the faller. Yeah, he's down here. He's falling a couple spots from his ADP last week. His ADP right now, it's probably continuing to tank. Yeah, it's sinking pretty hard. He's going to probably be a guy that falls into the 15th and 16th round at some point. I'm not buying it. But anyways, we're almost up to pick. Some of the running backs that I mentioned do stick out here, whether it's Algier. If we can get Gerald Everett on the team here, I'm open to that as well. I do like the rookie Roschon Johnson for the Bears. I think that's a solid value. There goes J-Love. I do need more receivers, but like I said, I kind of like some of the receivers later, especially some of the Broncos players. I don't know if we're going to be able to get a Marvin Mims to fall back to us, but we're up to pick. I'm going to land on Algier. It fits a need for us. He's a guy that I think can contribute, 10 touches per week, even with a healthy Bijan Robinson. If he gets his 8 to 10 carries for 40, 50 yards, maybe a catch or two, he could be a high floor guy. Right now we have competition for our RB2 spot between Charbonnet, Warren, and Algier. So I do need to throw some haymakers down at the position. I might take Roschon Johnson here. I do need a tight end. It looks like Gerald Everett just went, so that's you snooze, you lose. It's okay. Roschon Johnson is the top running back available. It is rumored that he's going to be the passing down back here. Receivers, Alec Pierce, Hodgins. Receivers look okay. We can reassess that. Dalton Kincaid, Irv Smith. I do like Irv Smith quite a bit. At 158, that's his ADP. I'm going to take Roschon Johnson here. Again, we need running backs. I think he can be the team's leading receiving back. They do have Deonta Foreman, and they do have Khalil Herbert there, who I like on first and second down. But who knows? If injury happens or a trade or anything, Roschon Johnson could be a nice piece. I'm not buying for some reason, like when these drafts opened up, Kincaid was like an 11th round pick, and I don't agree with him going that high. I'm not buying the hype, especially for this rookie season. I think it's tough for rookie tight ends to hit. I mean, as it stands right now, you have guys like the other rookie tight ends here, Sam Laporta going at 164. I don't mind taking a stab at him at here. Kincaid just went round 14, but I think for rookie tight ends, I'm fine with not having one. When they start to look good is like at this point of the draft where it's like round 16. You can get a Sam Laporta, you can get and then really late here, like Luke Musgrave, he's got no competition for tight end there. Michael Mayer, he's going to be useful. I think where Kincaid's going right now, I'm not interested. Especially like you're taking Kincaid over Irv Smith, who is Joe Burrow's starting tight end. We saw Hayden Hurst have a good amount of value last year in that role. Also, Juwan Johnson. He did catch a decent amount of touchdowns. You got Derek Carr here. It sounds like Juwan Johnson's been studying Julian Edelman tape, which is interesting. He might be a hot read for Derek Carr in that offense. I think that's a fun pick. I don't like Kincaid where he's going right now. I think he's a good player. I think in Dynasty, I want Kincaid in Dynasty for next year. I think it's kind of crowded. I don't see Dawson Knox coming off the field in favor of Kincaid. Kincaid's not a blocking tight end, so Knox is going to be on the field a fair amount more than Kincaid. And then right now it sounds like the Bills slot receiver, that's going to be a huge training camp battle to watch in late July here, because you got Kincaid, you got Khalil Shakir, you have Trent Sherfield. There's a lot of names there that are going to be competing for slot duty. So I kind of view Kincaid as a rotational player, whereas these other rookie tight ends like Laporta, he's got a good chance at playing a lot of snaps. They also, like, Jameson Williams is gone the first 6 weeks. They might have to rely on the tight end early. Luke Musgrave's got no competition. He's going to be on the field a ton. And then Michael Mayer, I like him too. So I'd rather take stabs on some of those rookie tight ends than Kincaid. But anyways, we're moving into the 15th round. You see Irv Smith, Dawson Knox, Juwan Johnson, Jerome Ford, Curtis Samuel, John Mechie, and let's see here. We're almost up to pick. It looks like some of the running backs here. Yeah, I think it's tough, man, because where he's going here, like, I'd rather have all three of these tight ends, Irv, Knox, Juwan Johnson. If Kincaid continues to fall, I'll probably take some stabs at him. And the other thing too is I don't think me not taking Kincaid this early, I don't think it's going to hurt me in the long run. And this guy here, he does get Sam Laporta, who looks decent here. I think Laporta is probably in for a better statistical season than Kincaid, but you never know. It's tough for me, man, because I like some of the tight ends behind him a little bit more. But we're up to pick here. Ty Chandler just came off the board. We missed on Tajay Spears. It looks like we get the guy that I was kind of mentioning earlier, Raheem Mostert. And here's my thinking, guys. If Dalvin Cook does not sign with the Dolphins, Raheem Mostert is the starting running back week 1. So we'll play that with this build here. We'll see what we can do. And all of a sudden we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 6 running backs. We do need to pivot back towards the wide receiver and tight end position. I think I want to start reaching on Tim Patrick. He's a guy that he's been one of the biggest movers up the draft boards. The past week here, Tim Patrick has jumped a full round. His ADP, when I logged this the other day, I mean, it was 192. So he's a guy that is shooting up draft boards. He correlates with our Russell Wilson and Jerry Jeudy. That's probably my pick here. Tight ends, I like Taysom Hill, Mike Gesicki, but I think at this point we're going to probably run it to empty and grab 2 more guys a little bit later in the draft here. But we're on track to get a 6th receiver here for us. I do want to start taking some stabs at Ezekiel Elliott too. I think Elliott's probably going to end up coming back to the Cowboys. And I saw some of his workout stuff, videos. He looks like he's working out. He's in shape. He's going to play this year. I think at this point he's worth, and then he goes at 182. I think he's worth a look here. But I get Tim Patrick, who's on the thumbnail of the video. That's cool. And he correlates again with our Jeudy and our Russell Wilson stack. So we have a decent looking squad right now. Let me recap it for you guys. Our QBs, we're done at the position. We have Justin Herbert, Daniel Jones, and Russell Wilson. I know it's a heavy 3 QB build, but I think I feel pretty good about that being one of our strongest positions. Running backs, we're going to have a battle for RB2. After Saquon Barkley, we got Charbonnet, Warren, Algier, Rashawn, and Raheem Mostert. It's probably not going to be pretty to start the year. Hopefully we can rely on Raheem, to carry us for, maybe 8 to 10 points. Otherwise, we got some nice back end of the season upside here with some of these rookies, Warren and Algier. The receivers, CeeDee Lamb, Deebo Samuel, Jerry Jeudy, Godwin, Quentin Johnson, and Tim Patrick. I feel pretty good about that group so far. We're going to need to tack on at least 2 more. And then we get Darren Waller, who's naked right now. We need more tight end help. So we're probably going to pivot there. I do like, Taysom Hill's falling. Let me see where the draft is at here. We got a long ways to go here. So we're not getting some of these tight ends. But we do have, Jake Ferguson, who we can, tack on to our Dallas and CeeDee Lamb bets. We do have, I really like Trey McBride. I'd rather have, instead of drafting Kincaid up at the 15th round pick, I'd rather have Trey McBride, who I think has a chance to be the starter the whole season there. I don't think Zach Ertz is going to be ready to play week 1. He's probably a pup list candidate. I've also seen, for salary cap reasons, they might just end up cutting Zach Ertz. He's a 33-year-old tight end coming off a bad multi-ligament knee injury. I love Trey McBride. Again, I mentioned Luke Musgrave's an interesting pick here. I don't hate grabbing some flyers on Noah Fant. There's still a lot of tight ends here. I like Hayden Hurst, who was productive in his role with the Bengals last year. He's got a rookie passer now. That could be a nice security blanket. But let me recap here. After I took Tim Patrick at 183, you see Renfro, Thornton, Mike Gesicki, Jimmy Garoppolo, Sam Howell, Khalil Shakir. I love Darius Slayton this late. Devontae Parker, who's moving up boards. Parker, is actually the #1 riser. Since he signed his 3-year deal, he's moved up a round and a half, and he keeps on moving. He's going to continue to move up. He's probably going to be a guy that continues to move up as we get closer to training camp. But Devontae Parker, Mac Jones, Jeff Wilson, Ritter, Conklin, Pierce Strong, Taysom Hill. Yeah, I do like Michael Mayer, Sean. He's a fun pick. I have him on my list here. Let me see. Did he get taken up yet? Yeah, he is. He's going to be on the list for sure. And he's a guy that I haven't been drafting a ton of early, but I'm starting to come back to him. And I'm like, these rookie tight ends round 17, 18, I mean, if they pop off for 4 or 5 touchdowns, that's enough to do it at this point in the draft here. So he's on the list. I think Jimmy Garoppolo, and even if it's not Jimmy Garoppolo, like they're gonna be a lot of dinking and dunking going on there. So definitely, I like this tight end list here. Hey, like all of them: Hurst, Ferguson, McBride, Musgrave, Meyer. All of these guys have use. I don't know if I need to grab one right now. It looks like Hayden Hurst is the top guy. Let's look at the receivers real quick. Wandale, Richie James, Terrace Marshall. I don't know if I'm in on Wandale. I haven't been taking him a lot. He's returning from a bad knee injury as well. He's got a lot of competition for targets, though. He does fit with our New York Giants build. But yeah, I'm definitely in on Michael Myers, Sean. Thanks for the thought. And I mean, do I just grab 2 tight ends here? I have 1, 2, 3, 4 picks left. I need probably 2 tight ends and 2 receivers to finish this build. We're on deck here. I like Gus Edwards, Leonard Fournette, Chase Brown. These are all good. These are all good running back picks. But Hayden Hurst falls. He's a guy that I think is locked in to the role. I'm going to grab him here, and then we'll grab one of these other tight ends, whether it's Ferguson, McBride, or Michael Mayer here at the 207. What's going on, Chase, my man? Hope you're doing well. I do like Terrace Marshall this late here, too. I think he's a fun sleeper wide receiver there in Carolina. I'm probably going to grab wideout here because then we can balance it out. We'll go tight end wideout here, and then we'll get one more of each at the next 19th and 20th round turn. So hope you're doing well, Chase. We're just having fun here doing this Drafters $1.2 million contest here. I think we have a decent team. Here. Let me just look at the ADP here. Wan'Dale Robinson's still there. I'm nervous about it. There's a lot of bodies there. He does correlate with my Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley, Darren Waller, but Trey McBride. I'm going to take Terrace Marshall. We'll see if these tight ends continue to fall. If I can get Michael Mayer on the comeback, that would be sweet. We already have Hayden Hurst. We'll see what happens. But yeah, let me just look at the build. I like clicking on it this way. We got 6 running backs. I don't know if I need another running back. Do you guys think do I need a 7th running back or do I need an 8th receiver? Let me know what you guys think. We can maybe just be fine with Waller and Hayden Hurst at tight end. I'm into the idea of grabbing a 3rd for sure. But when it comes down to that 7th running back or the 8th wide receiver, let me know what you guys think in the comments. I'm open to whatever sticks out. I don't know if there's going to be a running back that sticks out, but we will see what we can do. After I take Terrace Marshall, you see Trey McBride, Wan'Dale Robinson. And again, I like Wan'Dale. He was productive in bunches last year. He had that nice 9 for 100 yard game here. He had a 6 for 50 game. He did catch a touchdown in week 6. I struggle with his size and him coming off of a pretty bad knee injury. They brought in Paris Campbell. They re-signed Isaiah Hodgins, Darius Slayton. They drafted Jalen Hyatt. It's a messy wide receiver room. That's why I kind of just like pivoting to I want Barkley and I want Waller. I trust those two the most out of anybody here. I do like taking late round darts on Slayton or Paris Campbell, but I think you should be excited about the Giants' fantasy options in best ball this year. I'm hoping Daniel Jones can take a year 2 leap in the Daboll system. But there goes Michael Mayer. I probably should have taken a look at him. The reason I took Hayden Hurst, again, it's tough for rookie tight ends to matter in fantasy football. If I get one to fall at a good ADP, I'm fine with it. But I don't need to force it, I guess is what I'm saying. I think there's still a couple tight ends left here. Whoop. And yeah, man, go for it. We can fire up some questions. We're going to be done here in a few minutes, but if you have any questions, fire it up. Love answering some dynasty questions. Let's see. The 18th round just completed here. Claypool, Michael Mayer, Allen Robinson, Hunter Henry, Cordero Patterson. I like Ryan Tannehill this late. I think he's going to end up starting like almost 70 to 80% of the season. We might see Will Levis at the end, sure, but Tannehill still has some useful QB2, QB3 weeks in him. Zamir White, Corey Davis, Trent Sherfield, Jelani Woods, and Mike White go here. Tight ends are pretty beat up, but like you can get Noah Fant for free. You can get Cade Otton for free. Wide receivers available this late here. Josh Palmer, I could take a flyer on Josh Palmer. He's stacked with our Justin Herbert, Quentin Johnston. Again, I mentioned earlier. If anything happens, to there goes Josh Palmer. If anything happens to Keenan Allen or Mike Williams or even Quentin Johnston, Josh Palmer steps up into a starting role for that team. So he's a guy that I'm kind of interested in. I'm gonna just take Noah Fant to be my tight end 3. It's an exciting offense. We should be looking for Seattle players, and I don't get why Noah Fant goes this late. All right, we'll look at that. Chase deal is Lamb, Wilson, 2024. Ooh, this is a big one. Okay, let me break this down. So CeeDee Lamb and Russ Wilson, a 2024 third and a 2025 fourth for Pirine, Nico, 24 first. Okay. We'll look at that in a second there, Chase. I'm going to put it in some calculators after the show, and we'll look at it. We got one more pick here to steal the deal. But hey, man, if you can pull this off here, it looks like you're grabbing pretty much CeeDee Lamb for 2024 first. You're sending Pirine and Nico for Wilson, and then the other picks are kind of just, whatever. But we got one more pick here to send this guy home. I don't know, guys. Receiver Marvin, Puka. I like Puka. I like Michael Wilson. I like Michael Wilson. Aguilar this late. Tutu Atwell this late. Kind of like Kyle Phillips. There's Laviska Shenault, who I think could be an interesting pick. This one's tough. I'm gonna go Josh Reynolds just because he's gonna be a starting receiver at least when Jameson Williams isn't there. So we'll just kind of finish off with there, and then a final recap here: Herbert, Daniel Jones, Russell Wilson. Running backs need some help here: Barkley, Charbonnet, Warren, Algier, Rashawn, Raheem Mostert. We'll figure that out along the way. Receivers are CeeDee Lamb, Debo, Judy, Godwin, Quentin Johnston, Tim Patrick, Terrace Marshall, and Josh Reynolds. And then we got tight ends Darren Waller, Hayden Hurst, and Noah Fant. So pretty fun. I think we did okay on that one. And then, yeah, let's get to some of these dynasty questions here. Chris says he's got Olave and St. Brown. Olave and St. Brown have close in value. Should I offer a second-round pick and Olave for St. Brown? Interesting. So the thing about Olave is that I feel like, so Amon-Ra St. Brown's always going to be a guy that catches a ton of targets. If this is a full PPR league, Chris, I would assume Amon-Ra St. Brown has the more value. And if this is a future second-round pick, and especially like if this if this is a team that is probably a playoff team, and this is going to be a back end of the second round pick, I'm cool with it. If you can flip Olave for Amon-Ra St. Brown, I think that makes sense. He's got a little bit higher ceiling, and I think if you look at best ball drafts and mock drafts right now, Amon-Ra St. Brown's a late first round pick. Olave is kind of a late second round pick. So the value right now is for St. Brown. And again, if you're a playoff team and if you can get those extra PPR points, I think it makes sense. Would you trade Breece for Garrett Wilson straight up? Ooh, that one's tough. I think so. I mean, Breece is coming off a pretty bad knee injury. So this is the opportunity to, I guess you're acquiring Garrett Wilson. Okay, so you're acquiring Garrett Wilson. If you're good at running back and if you already have two quality starters, especially for the next 1 to 2 years, I think Garrett Wilson's going to be probably the more productive player. There is a chance that, I think for this year, for sure, Garrett Wilson's the guy I'd rather have on my fantasy team. But for next year, and again, especially this all hinges on like Rodgers. If they sign Dalvin Cook, I don't know if they're going to. But I think for the next 2-year window, I think Garrett Wilson's probably the guy I'd rather have. So if you need wide receiver help, I would do it. And as long as you have some guys at the running back position to pull in there, I think I'm in on the Garrett Wilson sweepstakes. Yep, we can look at that. Shipping Tony Pollard, man. I think he's kind of a dynasty sell right now. I don't know how old he is. Let me look. Tony Pollard, about 26. He just turned 26, so he's got a good 2-year window left here. But again, we don't know what they're going to be doing with their RB2 spot. But hey, that's going to do it for me today, guys. I appreciate it. This was fun. Birthday draft, we got it done. I don't know if the team's that good at all, but I had fun building it. And I had a lot of fun with you guys. We had a lot of people in the chat and a lot of people watching today. So cool. Thank you guys for your time. If you guys have any dynasty questions, you can comment them on the video. If you want to follow me on Twitter, we can DM. And if you guys want to send me any trade offers or things like that, we can talk it over on Twitter. That's probably the best place to reach me. Otherwise, again, leave a comment, like the video, subscribe, all that good stuff. And yeah, thank you for your time, guys. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Peace.